और ड्रग अब्यूज का क्या सोचा?
आज के बाद
हो क्या लाइफ?
बस यही तो। यार मेक मी गो होस्ट।
पोस्ट किसे करूँ?
मुझे
माँ बाप बहुत परेशान। আমি ফ্যানটা অফ করে দিও তো একটু। ফ্যানটা অফ করে দিও। তাহলে কেমন লাগে?
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so hope you all are doing great. This is a session on mental health and awareness by MSA Pakistan. And first question first, is everyone perfect with me being bilingual, or should I speak more in Urdu? The chat box is open, and I would love to see your responses. That if you are comfortable with English, or should I just focus on Urdu? English is preferable. Okay, perfect. Bilingual, bilingual, bilingual. Okay, perfect. So how is the enthusiasm here? Like, क्या hopes लेकर आए आप लोग इस सेशन में? कितने excited आप इस सेशन के लिए? So on a rate of one, on a scale of 1 to 5, आप अपनी excitement को क्या rate करते हैं? And जितना 4, okay, 4, good, good. 5, wow. Enthusiasm देख के 6, okay, great. So great, great. 8, I have passion for mental health. Nice, nice. Us moment. The Wala Tariq, I don't know how do you pronounce that name, but it is an us moment. Okay, so let's first start with like everyone like just in a simple words, best of luck because we all are having a battle in our mind जिसके बारे में दूसरों से बात नहीं करते कभी हम इस सेशन में आए कि शायद हमें हमारे उन सवालों के जवाब मिल जाए तो उन सवालों के जवाब ढूंढने के लिए आज हमने 3 बहुत ही बेहतरीन स्पीकर्स बुलाए हैं और उम्मीद है कि आपको अपने सवालों के जवाब मिल जाएंगे सो लेट्स स्टार्ट विद क्विक एक्टिविटी जो हम अभी करेंगे और एट द एंड ऑफ सेशन भी करेंगे मैं आपको 4 कलर्स दूंगा उसके अंदर आपने अपनी मेंटल स्टेट को चूज करना है एंड बाय द एंड ऑफ सेशन आपने दोबारा मुझे बताना है कि लाइक अब वो कलर्स चेंज हुए हैं या वही रहे हैं ताकि हमें पता चल सके कि हमारा सेशन कामयाब था या नहीं था सो फर्स्ट बीइंग व्हाइट कलर लाइक आपको आप कहें कि मेरी मेंटल हेल्थ इज टोटली परफेक्ट एंड आई एम हैप्पी विद माई सेल्फ and the second one being blue color okay, like you are not well aware of your mental state might you have some mental health issues might be not right
मतलब कि चेंज है
can anyone please close their mic I guess किसी का mic open है
नहीं यूएस नहीं गए देखिए यूएस साउथ अमेरिका गए हैं और आप ऑस्ट्रेलिया नहीं गए अफ्रीका गए अफ्रीका में
okay so as I was saying कि like अब हम colors के अंदर distribute कर रहे थे और ब्लू कलर बीइंग के आपको अपनी स्टेट का आइडिया नहीं है येलो कलर बीइंग के लाइक यू अंडरस्टैंड कि मुझे कुछ मेंटल हेल्थ इश्यूज हैं एंड आई एम ट्राइंग टू वर्क ऑन इट एंड रेड कलर बीइंग के मुझे काफी ज्यादा मेंटल हेल्थ इश्यूज हैं सो एवरीबॉडी जस्ट ड्रॉप योर कलर ऑफ योर करंट मेंटल हेल्थ स्टेट एंड देन एट द एंड ऑफ द सेशन विल आल्सो हैव दिस एक्टिविटी जहां पर हम इनको दोबारा रिव्यू करेंगे ताकि हमें आइडिया हो सके कि हमारा सेशन कितना कंफर्टेबल है ब्लू ब्लू रेड ब्लू ब्लू so the people with red, best of luck for your mental health journey. Just remember that you are not alone in this journey. हम सब इसमें साथ हैं. And for the people who voted blue, just remember that हम यहाँ पर सीखने ही आए हैं और this section would be perfect because यहाँ पर हम ये study करेंगे कि what actually are the stigma and how one can identify that they are having like mental health issues. Right? So once again, best of luck for your mental health journey. And remember, you are not alone in this journey. Never ever isolate yourself. There will always be help from your side and from our side. And inshallah, by the end of this session, we are also having a special announcement. And it would be like a cherry on top after this session. So आई होप कि मैंने आप लोगों को मजीद इंथुजियाज्म बढ़ा दिया और मजीद एनर्जी अप कर दी है सो ग्रैब अ पेन एंड पेपर बिकॉज आवर स्पीकर विल बी जॉइनिंग अस रियली सून बट ज्वाइन करने से पहले हम उनका एक प्रॉपर इंट्रोडक्शन कराएं ताकि अगेन आप लोग मजीद हाइप्ड अप हो जाएं क्योंकि यहाँ पर हम अपनी हेल्प करने आए हैं बिकॉज दिस इज अ बैटल जो हमें खुद लड़ना है और खुद ही जीतना है हाँ इसमें हमें सपोर्ट मिलेगी, बट द बेस्ट पॉसिबल वर्जन, द बेस्ट पॉसिबल अप्रोच वुड बी कि हम अपने आप को साथ साथ इसके लिए प्रिपेयर करें. सो ग्रैब अ पेन एंड पेपर बिकॉज दिस सेशन विल इंशाल्लाह चेंज आवर लाइव्स. So if my introduction or like ice breaking was good, and just let me know in the chat box. And जो लोग अपने colors show कर रहे हैं, I'll also review them in the end too. Okay, I'll type the colors too so that it would be comfortable for everyone. Just give me a second. So I have also typed the colors, and I hope now it is clear to everyone. So what are like your expectations, और आप लोगों की क्या hopes हैं कि आप इस session से क्या सीख कर जाएंगे? Just anybody that can open their mic or that can like show in the chat box कि उनकी क्या hopes हैं या वो क्या expect कर रहे हैं इस workshop से. Can anybody tell me their expectations from this session? That's a great point of view to help others. And when okay. Again, once again, like the people who are voting red, I hope that you win this battle, and remember that you are not alone in this journey. Definitely want to learn how to cook. Exactly, we just want to learn how we can master ourselves, our emotions, our feelings, how do we express them, and how we can be the best version of ourselves. Sorry. Okay. I'm glad कि हमारे पास बहुत ही एनर्जेटिक ऑडियंस है जो और उनके अंदर एक जिंदा दिल है कि लाइक वो दूसरों की मदद करना चाह रहे हैं. इस किसी का माइक ओपन है, कैन दे प्लीज क्लोज देयर माइक? Okay, so I hope कि आप सब लोग सेशन के एंड तक रहेंगे, and by the end of session we'll also review your colors again, and then I hope so that this session would be perfect for your mental health journey, and this will help you eventually in becoming the best version of yourself, as we are all in this journey together to be the best version of ourselves and to eventually make the world a better place. Are you all with me in this journey to become the best version of ourselves by helping ourselves mentally and then making the world a better place? Yes, perfect. आई होप कि आप लोगों ने हमारे स्पीकर्स के बारे में इंफॉर्मेशन ली होगी, एंड देन आपकी होप्स उनके बारे में हाई होगी कि लाइक यू विल लर्न अ लॉट फ्रॉम देम, लाइक लिटरली अ लॉट. सो मेरी एक्सपेक्टेशंस काफी हाई हैं, एंड आई होप कि आप लोग भी इससे ज्यादा से ज्यादा सीख पाएंगे. So I guess काफी लोग अब तक ज्वाइन कर चुके हैं, आप लोगों की होप्स भी काफी हाई हैं, एंड आई एम प्राउड कि हमारे पास एक बहुत ही enthusiastic और energetic ऑडियंस है. तो आई विल गिव माय माइक टू मिस्टर तैमूर अली, दैट जो हमारे अब स्पीकर के बारे में कुछ अल्फाज बताएंगे, एंड दे विल देन वी कैन फॉर्मली स्टार्ट आवर सेशन. बेस्ट ऑफ लक फॉर योर जर्नी, एंड इंशाल्लाह अब आप लोगों की सेशन के एंड पे मुलाकात होगी विद अ सरप्राइज, एंड वी विल आल्सो रिव्यू योर कलर्स अगेन. थैंक यू.
Thank you very much, Hassan. I would start with welcoming Kurva Regan from Kenya. It is great. It is with great pleasure and deep appreciation that we extend a heartfelt welcome to Mr. Kirwa, former National Officer for the Standing Committee on Mental Health under SCOPH MSA Kenya. Your dedication to mental health advocacy and tireless efforts in promoting awareness, compassion, and accessible support have left an enduring impact not only within Kenya but across our broader community. Your leadership has inspired many, and your contributions continue to pave the way for a more empathetic and informed healthcare environment. As you join us today, we are honored by your presence and look forward to learning from your insights, experiences, and unwavering commitment to public health. Thank you for being a beacon of change and for empowering fellow medical students to champion mental well being with heart and purpose. That's all, guys. Thank you very much.
Okay, good. Hi, everyone. If I'm audible, maybe send a reaction or an emoji or a message. All right. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. I don't think I've ever had my name being introduced with more than almost 5 lines. That's quite an introduction. So congratulations for that. um, I am looking forward to, uh, as it has been said, my name is Kira Regan from Kenya. I'm a medical student from Kenyatta University, and I'm an ardent mental health advocate. Yeah, I I really like matters mental health because of the weight that it carries in our current generation, in our current world. And yeah, so I look forward to having a really engaging discussion. And as I start, I'd like to ask a question before I start, and I need you to think about that question. And maybe you can give me your interpretation as before I finish this talk. Okay. I hope that someone will time me, because I can start once I start talking, it's gonna turn into a 2-hour montage, and that is all the time we've been allocated, and I only have 25 minutes. So I'll try to be as brief, as concise, and as interesting. I'll make sure that I'm not as boring. I'm not a very boring person. Okay. Maybe in the chat, I want to ask two questions. Sorry. The first question is: has anyone ever read any book on Franz Kafka? That is my first question. You can answer in the chat. That's anyone ever read any book on Franz Kafka from Franz Kafka, and what is your definition of Kafkaesque? Kafkaesque. Yeah, someone has said Metamorphosis. That's my favorite book as well. Yeah, so what is your definition of Kafkaesque. That is something I'll come back to towards the end of this talk. Okay, so quickly, what is health? I mean, there is health in mental health, and we are medical students, and we deal with health a lot, and we are future healthcare professionals. So we probably have to know what health is. And health has been defined as many times as possible. There's the WHO definition, there's a holistic definition, there's the Wikipedia definition. Anyone can define health how they see fit, but the few pillars that you will realize, maybe coined from the WHO definition, is a set of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not just a mere absence of infirmity. And it's being very important that the mental aspects is being mentioned here. So how exactly is that mental aspect important, or rather, what is mental health? Can someone maybe unmute if they're in a position to? Someone can just tell us what mental health is from their perspective, because I feel like life is generally more about perspectives than it is about a certain straight line that we all follow. Everyone looks at things from a different angle. So yeah, someone volunteer maybe for a second or two. No one? Okay. All right. So let me just give my. Okay. Sorry. The question is, what is mental health from a personal perspective? Like, what if someone meets you walking along the street and they ask you what mental health is, what would you tell them in about 30 seconds? I don't. Have you gotten the question now? Okay, someone is now, it is a journey. Yeah, it is quite the journey, and it's a journey of so many steps. It's a gruesome journey to some, having peace with yourself. That is very true as well. Yeah. So mental health, you realize, is something universal and it's very neutral. And yes, very interesting thoughts being shared in the chat. And as I was saying, mental health is very universal and it is neutral, and it is a state where we can cope with our daily stresses, a state where we can think clearly and feel emotionally balanced and engage meaningfully with others. And it encompasses a lot of things, the emotional aspect of it, the psychological aspect of it, and the social aspect of it. This will enable resilience and will generally affect our day-to-day functioning as medical students. And in a holistic perspective, mental health is slightly different from mental illness, uh, though they are interconnected. And mental illnesses, according to the Diagnostic and Statistics Manual for Mental Disorders, I don't know if all of us have already gone through psych rotations or we are doing psychiatry within IMED, within internal medicine. I'm currently in my internal medicine rotations and I'm rotating in psychiatry. So yeah, DSM-5 That's what mental illness, according to DSM-5, basically means a a disease that can be diagnosed. This is a condition which can disrupt mental health. I'll just stop there. I've already defined what mental health is. I've told you it is a state where we can cope with our daily stresses, we can think clearly, we can feel emotionally balanced and engage meaningfully with other people. Now, mental illness is a diagnosable disease that that can disrupt our mental health. And as I said, mental health is very universal and it is neutral. So this interconnection that I was talking about is that poor mental health can increase the risk for mental illness. And at the same time, managing mental illnesses can greatly improve mental health. And here we are solely focusing on mental health, the state of mind, the state of well-being, the feeling of feeling balanced, and everything that everyone has said within the chat. And as medical students, we face a lot. We face a lot. I'll give a personal example on from last week. We from the normal ward rounds, and I was genuinely cooked. Let me say cooked. That is a bit, that's quite the slang, but I was cooked by the consultant. And it wasn't a really beautiful experience on that day. Then a few hours later, two patients from the ward we were rotating died. And sadly, we have to go on about our day. And those three events that happened within 40 minutes of each other wasn't supposed to carry much weight as it's expected, considering I still have to go for lectures from afternoon, from maybe 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. or 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. And life has to go normal. And it is difficult. It's very, very difficult. And this is a challenge that you might keep facing every day. This is a challenge that you might keep facing months, even years within school. And you will realize that we are human beings as well. As much as we are training to care for the health of other people, we also need to learn to take care of our own health. Yes, so who can tell me about maybe any mental illness that they know? Yeah, just mention one or two in the chat box. Mental illness, and maybe maybe symptoms of mental illness. Yeah, bipolar. Yes, that's mood disorder. Thank you. Yeah, please personality. There's the obsessive compulsive disorder. Yep, BP type 1, BP type 1. Yep, borderline personality. Yep, phobias are also part of anxiety disorders. Those are true. Yeah, so what everyone is mentioning is true. And some of them have flashy names. Some of them probably we self-diagnose ourselves with it. Commonly ADHD and OCD. Like some have really flashy names, and you hear people self-diagnosing themselves. But something common that we we face as medical students will be under mood disorders and under general and anxiety disorders. And depression is the major depressive disorder. And the fine line, there's a very fine line. If someone can tell me what the difference between stress and anxiety is, maybe the chat. Some difference between stress and anxiety. What's the difference? Is it the same thing? Does one lead to the other, or is one caused by the other, or are they? Anyone? Okay, yeah, you can be typing in the chat. And yeah, I've said the three most common, and this is according to a certain study that we did in our country, Kenya. We have, I think, 14 medical schools. Yeah, anxiety is feared in the future, whereas stress is caused by any condition or circumstances already happened. That is generally true. That's very true, actually. That is also very true, Lian. Then Junaid, that's also very true. Yeah, we did a study on mental health and health-seeking behaviors among medical students, and the results were very paradoxical or ironical, because almost to an astronomically high number of people who genuinely don't seek help at all. And what many who seek help have been diagnosed with, or rather have been treated for, are major depressive disorder and anxiety disorder, and generalized anxiety disorders, those two. And major depressive disorder, I mentioned, it's part of the mood disorders, and technically presents as dysphoria. Dysphoria is the feeling of hopelessness. And anhedonia basically means you are losing interest in things that maybe were interesting to you, but aren't anymore. Let's say you love playing football or socializing with people, and now it all seems very bleak. That's what anhedonia means. And avolition, and these symptoms must last up to 2 weeks, so that, and the low mood has to last up to 2 weeks or more than 2 weeks, so that it can be classified as a major depressive disorder. And then, under anxiety disorders, something common in medical students is the generalized anxiety disorder. And generalized anxiety disorder would mainly present as worry, restlessness, fatigue, and these symptoms must go on from between a month and 6 months for generalized anxiety disorders. And there's something also very common among medical students, though it is not necessarily recognized as a formal diagnosis in the DSM-5, but it is a recognized psychiatric syndrome, which is linked with chronic stress and interlinked with generalized anxiety disorder and major depressive disorder. This is burnout. Burnout presents normally as emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and reduced personal achievement. In that, whether you studied the whole textbook for Davidson's or Harrison's, or whichever textbook you read for internal medicine, or Kazun, you study the whole thing and you probably think, no, I've not done enough, or everything you're doing is not enough. That feeling of reduced personal accomplishment. And these diseases normally have their own impacts within our lives. And I've said it can lead to loss of function, complete loss of function. maybe for your personal checking, you could look at a certain study done on, since it's still the vagal state. Yeah, I don't think I remember it that well, but I gave it a read sometime back. Okay, yeah, and normally these things are associated with a lot of stigma, and stigma can come in many forms, whether it's the jokes we make about it, whether it's the silence, whether it's the fear of being judged, and almost 80% is genuine and complete misunderstanding of what we are dealing with. And personally, I can say before getting into medical school and before doing rotation in internal medicine and psychiatry, I couldn't really tell you the difference between mental health and mental illness. And we fortunately are medical students, and we are going to pass through these, but sometime for in your schools, but yeah, to a lot of stigma as well, because many a time we would associate mental illness with very bad things, and this could arise whether from class, families, and among even healthcare professionals ourselves. And a random example is in our pharmacology lecture a few weeks ago, we were studying CNS, central nervous system pharmacology, and we were looking at the antidepressants and antipsychotics. The lecturer said something, and at the time it sounded so funny, because I mean it could be funny, and he gave an example of one of his classmates who entered into major depressive disorder and later developed psychosis from that. And at the time it sounded really funny, but then again, is it really funny? There could be someone in that class undergoing something very difficult, and would that really be something of motivation to them? Not really. Sometimes it's very underlying. You don't, it mustn't be going to laugh at someone because they're depressed. It just, our communication around the topic could really be very important. And the stigma as well can, I think about 40% of the people who don't reach out for help is mainly because of the stigma. So because they can't afford the care. It's not because maybe they're afraid, it's because of the stigma, which creates the fear. And how do we address the stigma? First is education. Like I said, a complete misunderstanding of what we are dealing with can result to very catastrophic results. I think I've said that right. Yeah. So education, many people need to know what this is. Like here, I'm seeing 60 participants. If each of us can go and educate like other 5 people or 10 people, and then the 10 educate other people, it gives an all-round understanding of what we are dealing with, of what we are supposed to be dealing with, and how to deal with it in a manner that is respectful and very showing concern to people. And many times we realize, like, how do we recognize the signs? How do we recognize the signs of this? And majorly, it's usually changes in behavior. For those who are clerks, or for those who have clerked in psychiatry, or if you haven't clerked in psychiatry, you realize when you're talking to your patients, one question you have to ask is about premorbid personality. And premorbid personality is basically the personality before the illness and personality, and compare with personality after. That is mainly for mental illness. But what you realize is changing behavior is major paramount. Whether it's withdrawal from people who start anger and silence. It has both spectrums. It can be getting very agitated or becoming very silent. And there's also the normal vegetative functions that we know: sleep, appetite, um, things that we need to survive. Basically, we need to sleep, we need to eat. And I know sleep is not a very common topic among medical students, because very rarely, very rarely do we do we sleep. But it is important to sleep. Very important. Yeah. And I think I've mentioned some of the symptoms, like saying how these other diseases present, things like dysphoria, their volitions, their anhedonia. It is very pronounced in some cases. It doesn't have to be pronounced. There are people who know how to act, and some people put facades. And one thing we need to learn is empathy, and because empathy and early support can be really impactful, very impactful in life, because we need to learn to listen. That's one thing that we need to know. We need to do. We need to learn to listen. Learn to listen. Learn to listen. Learn to listen without judging. Learn to listen without trying to offer solutions. Learn to listen without trying to give your perspective. And I know it's human. If I tell you I have been going through something and you've also gone through the same thing, you might tend to tell me maybe you went through the same thing and came out of it. And in some cases it might work. In some cases it might be, people have different breaking points. Yeah. I think my time is almost going. People have different breaking points, and let's learn to listen. And it's always gonna be difficult, and that's why I started with Kafkaesque. And I'll give you my interpretation of Kafkaesque, especially after reading Metamorphosis, which I said earlier. It's one of my favorite books from Kafka. Then Letters to Milena as well. Really good book. If you haven't, you should try. Yeah. And I think personally that the struggle to find solace and understanding is both inescapable and impossible. But as conscious rational beings, we normally try to fight that absurdity, and we try to resolve that discrepancy between us and the universe. But unironically, we serve to self-perpetuate the very struggle that we're trying to resolve by trying to resolve the unresolvable. And in this case, on some level, it's almost as if we want the struggle. Very weird. And ultimately, because of Kafka's vague and surreal and inexplicable quality of writing, we land ourselves in an idea, and perhaps the idea is that we should accept our absurd condition and not take it so seriously, or perhaps the idea is that we should struggle against it, and perhaps the idea is that we don't know what the idea is. Yeah, it's a very difficult topic, genuinely. And the main reason I asked and the reason I talk about perspectives is that everyone has a different thinking towards this topic. And we will realize that as time goes on, more research is done, more is uncovered, and probably, maybe one day, we'll get to understand maybe the um, biological implications or how exactly is it's coming up to, or how exactly this comes up. And yeah, I think that's it. That's the first part of this wonderful session. And the other two speakers would expound more on what I've said. And I hope you've gotten something from it. Yeah, so thank you. And yeah, thank you for listening. The wonderful chance to speak to you as well. Yeah, someone has a question. Altaf, I don't know. Do we do the Q&A session right now, or should the other speakers do their questions, or could I ask in chat, then I reply? I will reply later. Or for whoever the moderator is, maybe can give moderation on that, of how the Q&A is supposed to go. Okay, I've seen a question. Maybe I'll just answer. Isn't it difficult to rule out anhedonia on basis of social interactions among introverts? So how can we rule out change in interactive behavior of an introvert person suffering from major depressive disorder? That is a great question, Junaid. And personally, I do think that uh, I do think that it's all about specificity and sensitivity. It's all about specificity and sensitivity. Someone with not someone with anhedonia doesn't necessarily mean that they it's not specific for major depressive disorder. It's not like we can treat it as, like we can say, I want to give an example that we might be with. So, for example, like what exactly? Like, let's say Jenstein media, the LJ media. Like, if we culture something on LJ media, we'll expect that it's going to be mycobacterial tuberculosis. But at the same time, not, I don't know how to put it very well, but among introverts, it's always very difficult. Yes, it's always very difficult. And you realize when we are, for example, in my very little experience in psych, when you psych histories are usually very long because you start from childhood, start from how they relate with the other people from their childhood, going all the way to where you found them. Is this normally like this, or it's difficult for this person to maybe interact with people from a younger age? And that's how you can maybe filter your differentials as you go. So I don't know if I've answered the question correctly, but yeah, it is not very specific for major depressive disorder and hedonia. And the whole concept of diagnosis is very long to filter the differentials. So much has to go into it.
Thank you, Mr. Kirwa, for your kind words. It was very nice to have you. Now for this next speaker, we have Miss Nausheen, our Anjal, and we are honored to have her. Ms. Nausheen Naur Anchal, General Assistant SCOPH from BMSS Bangladesh, as our speaker today. As a passionate advocate for youth mental health, Nausheen brings a unique and thoughtful student perspective to the conversation. Her talk focuses on the challenges surrounding mental well being in South Asia, highlighting how cultural beliefs, social roles, and stigma continues to affect how mental health is understood and addressed in our communities. Through her work, she continues to encourage open dialogue, awareness, and student led change. We're delighted to have her with us on this Mental Health Day. And now I'll hand over the mic to her. Over to you, Ms. Nosheen.
Hello, everyone. This is Noshina Warachul, and I'm the General Assistant of SCORE from BMSS Bangladesh. And today we're going to have a discussion on mental health, and I'm going to discuss with you about the mental struggles through a student's eyes. So, can you guys can see the presentation? If you can see this, please raise your hands. Okay, thank you. So, can I ask? I'm from Bangladesh, but I can speak Urdu. So, can I know if I speak in Urdu, will you guys appreciate it, or like you guys are okay with English? Okay, fine. Urdu. Okay, fine. I will talk in Urdu also. But right now, uh, I want you guys to cooperate with me and I want your voice. You guys are texting. Okay, it's fine. But I want you guys to, say something, ask questions. That would be more interactive. I would love to hear your voice, guys. Okay, so let's start. When we're just talking about the smiles we medical students are having on our face as a doctor, we might feel like, yes, we have the world with us. But sometimes, when we're alone with ourselves, we're so upset. We're being like, no, this is not going well. This is not going something that we want. Like, we are struggling to be a doctor, right? But through this whole session, we are like something that, in a very drown thing. उर्दू में बोले तो ऐसी चीज होती है कि मतलब दिल बैठा जा रहा है पर फिर भी हम लोग पढ़ रहे हैं. So, guys, please tell me if my Urdu is good enough. I really want to know from you guys. You guys can open your mics and tell that. Thank you. Okay. So, can I have our next slide? Okay. When we're just talking this, why mental health? Like, when we're upset, we say that our health, the whole system, our whole body is not working as we want. Because when we are like in a emotional distress or something like that, we are just someone like, you know, we're we feel like our body is paining, our head is not working like the way it need to be worked or something like that way. But when we're in a cheerful mood or in a good mood, it feels like everything is on point. Like आपकी अगर तबीयत भी खराब हो जाए ना, फिर भी आपको ऐसा लगता है कि यार चलो कोई बात नहीं, दिन है, अच्छा है, मन अच्छा है, तो सब अच्छा है। तो जो ये सारी चीजें होती है, ये एक ऐसी चीज में आ जाती है कि लाइक आपको ऐसा लगता है कि मेंटल हेल्थ की जरूरत है। तो about this whole conversation, we are just want to talk about the stigma remains in our South Asian, like the whole way we just talk like, there are so many stigmas like mental health is not a huge problem, mental health is nothing, it's everything is fine, you are just just showing tantrums, nothing else. Mental health is a huge issue. So when we students are suffering from this, our parents are being like, खा पी लो आप लोग बस पढ़ लो ठीक हो जाओगे, but it's not like this. So when we're just doing something like this, we need to be very aware about ourselves. Like we need to be so sure about ourselves, like what we want, how is our mental state. For that, we need to open ourselves to the person we are so comfortable. Now you're gonna say like we are not comfortable to anyone at that point. Can I have the next slide? Okay. If we seeing this from the student lens, basically we are not experts, we are like a person, like if you're talking with me, I'm not a very much expert person on this field, right? Because we are still to be a doctor, but at this point we know how we're feeling because we're at the root, we know the other person how they're feeling, because the peer pressure is also the same on that person and also me. Maybe it's different for their upbringings, for their families, for their friend circles and all about, but the whole thing, the whole arrangement is kind of same. So we know the root, but we don't know how to deal with it. So we need to be a change maker, and we need to show everyone that how we feel and how what we need actually. Can we have the next slide? Okay, cultural norms and mental health. Well, in this thing, mainly our parents say we're just, we're not ill. This is not a problem. This is not something so huge. This is just like a drama. जैसे हम लोग ऐसे बोलते हैं कि यार ज्यादा नखरे कर रहा है, कुछ नहीं हुआ है, खा पी लेगा तो सही हो जाएगा, बट दिस इज नॉट समथिंग लाइक दैट. व्हेन यू आर जस्ट गोइंग थ्रू समथिंग which is very, you know hard and very tough on you, and it's not working like the way you want, that is the most difficult time, that is the most difficult situation that we are just facing. It might be your studies, it might be your personal life, it might be anything. But we are at a point where we need to speak about it. We need to cooperate with others. We need to be like, sometimes our friends be like, यार मन नहीं अच्छा लग रहा है, क्या बात कर सकते हैं? और that time sometimes we like, यार नहीं बात नहीं करनी, यार तू ज्यादा नखरा करता है. But at this point, we need to be like this. We need to listen to that person. That way we can prevent so many suicidal cases, all because at that time if a person speaks or if a person opens up, you don't need to give that person a solution, not every time, you just need to listen, because sometimes that burden gives us a very much huge thing, on that burden we feel like burnout. So we need to do something for our friends who are telling us that they are not going very well, or they are not doing everything in a very perfect way. Okay, do anyone have any question? Umair, you want to say something? Okay, I guess no. Next slide, please. Okay, here is the most important thing: gender expectation. Like in this Asia Pacific region, we are supposed to believe like men are strong and they don't cry. They can't cry. And if they cry, they're weak and they are not that much strong to do things as like that they wanna need to do that way. So in that case, men are supposed not to cry. So they sometimes be like, हम मर्द है और हम नहीं रोते, but this is not like the way it need to be, because men also have emotions, they also need to cry, they also need to express their feelings, and there should be a very safe place for them also to express their emotions. It is very it is a very important thing for us to say that it's high time actually that we need to tell our men that you also have emotions and you can share the way you want to share. It's not like that you hold your emotions and you're just like I'm strong, but deep down you're just crying, you're just trying to say something to your friend or something to your family, something to others that might help you to just have a very relaxed moment, because you are just missing that out. You are just in a very deep thought, you are in a very distressed mode, but you are just like, no, men are strong and they don't cry. And about women's, there are so many stigma, like girls are so weak, they are a very crybaby type thing. um उनका तो चलता है, बस ऐसे ही करते रहते हैं, बस रोते रहते हैं, but it's not like this. And sometimes the female students, as because some parents are like they are not as good as men, so they're trying to put their in a position where they feel like in a very inferior way. So sometimes they feel like, if I say my feelings to my parents, they might feel like I'm not capable like their son or like their other children, and that's might in a put me in a position where we in a position we don't like that position, right? You're in a vulnerable position, your parents are telling like you are not good enough like my son, or you can do these things, that thing. So that's a very much personal thing that we try to hide in ourselves as a female student, just to not show the anxiety to our parents or someone, to make sure that they don't see in a way us that like tell anyone who may to mute his mic. Okay, thank you. So in that way, women are in a position that they feel like anxiety to hide their feelings. They don't try to tell others because they might look down them. So that's why. Next slide, please. Faith and misconception. Well, we are in the Asia Pacific region, right? And here, faith is a very huge thing. It's very huge. I also agree with that thing, but there are certain points when we need to know that faith is a part, but not it's not a misconception. Like, sometimes we say everything will be fine if you pray. No, everything will not be fine if you just pray. You need to fix it with a medical care, because you're in a position where you just can't deal with yourself, you're just trying to deal with the whole thing all alone. It don't not gonna help you, never. It not gonna help you ever. So it's something like there you need to be in a point where you need to think that Allah will help us, but I need to go for a help like medical care. It's a co-assist, and we need to go for this like therapies. And we students are in a point like therapy will not help us, therapy will just it's just waste of time or something, but it actually helps because you're praying in a way, right? in our relation there is also a thing like you need to pray and you need to do things. Like अब बस ऐसा सोच रहे हो कि यार हो जाएगा सब, नहीं होगा। आप अगर नहीं कर रहे हो ना तो नहीं होने वाला वो चीज। तो if you really want to be in a good position, you need to pray and you need to work on yourself. Next slide, please. Okay, silence on campuses. Next slide. Well, there is a thing like sometimes we feel like our friends will look down upon us all because we're in a very vulnerable position, and we're just, every time we're just saying, I'm not okay, I'm not doing well, I'm in a position, everything is not going well. So our friends, after some time, they might say, यार अब ज्यादा बोल रहे हो, अब ज्यादा कर रहे हो, अब ऐसे नहीं बोल सकते हो, अब पढ़ाई करो सब ठीक हो जाएगा। बट इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट। समटाइम्स वी नीड टू बी अ गुड लिसनर। Like this is a very it's a very good quality to be a good listener. Your friend indeed they need help, that's why they are trying to say to you things is sometimes you just need to speak out. Just speak out. You don't need any solution, you don't need anything. You just need to say the things to just feel relaxed. So in that case we need to be in a position where we can say the things. And the fear of judgment, this is a very huge thing. Like fear of judgment in a position, it feels like uh, वो क्या सोचेंगे मेरे बारे में, वो क्या ही कहेंगे मेरे बारे में। This makes a man feel so bad that they don't want to speak up or they don't want to say things as in a way they need to say. So this is a very bad practice actually. So we need to be a good listener to make sure the environment around us is good and healthy. Next slide, please. Okay, here comes the most awaited slide. Medical students and burnout. So here I just wanna learn something from you guys, like about your experience. Like, what do you wanna say about the burnout session? Anyone? Like a very short story about yourselves, like the way you're just feeling. Anyone? Just raise your hand. No one wanna say anything. Then I think I should choose someone.
मैं अब्दुल्ला की तरफ जा रहा हूँ जरा।
Noshin, there is someone with their hand raised. There is Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan, say please.
Hello, everyone. Okay, burnout. Oh my God. This is so like fresh out of the oven right now. The thing with burnout that I've experienced so many times in my life. I mean, obviously, medical student cannot live without experience it like twice or more in a year. The thing with it for me that I don't realize that I'm like, burnt out until like I passed that point and I messed up lots of things and I'm like, ouch, I should have taken a break. Like it just happened very quickly that you just don't realize the whole situation until it's over. It's freaking me out.
It's so true. Thank you, Ryan, for
Yeah,
sharing
that's my
this.
experience about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Should I assume that you guys are so okay with your studies and you guys don't go through burnout like this? Okay, fine. I can say Arbaz. Arbaz, can you say something about it? Okay, Hassan said, I don't know how to explain burnout in my case. We want to listen. Like, we are here to listen to you. Please just say about yourself, how you're just feeling. It might help you. Sometimes we just say that cheering is caring. So, yeah, just tell us. Yeah,
So,
sure.
am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, so burnout in my case would be like when I have like piles of syllabus just right in front of me, but I just can't study, even though like I have total silence and total peace of mind, but I just can't comprehend the fact that I need to study and I need to learn all these things. And it is such a like weird situation to be in where I can't explain it to anyone around me. And especially in our South Asian household, you can't explain it to your parents, and they will just say that you are being lazy and you're not productive and you're wasting your time. And that is like pretty much it in my specific case.
Yeah, brown parents. They always believe like nothing is wrong. Just you need to just, do your studies. That's it. Okay, anyone else? Thank you, Hassan.
Um, I would like to say
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
Almina Azim and I'm from Balochistan, Pakistan. And right now I'm going through a little bit of burnout. I have a project due and also I am having a quiz or we can say stages हम पाकिस्तान में stages होते हैं. So it's also coming up and it's really hot here and it just plays with your emotions a lot. So like that's my story of burnout that I'm going through right now.
Thank you for sharing with us. I hope it is something like it will help you in the future, and I think Allah will help you definitely. So just pray and try to be more productive, and please have some rest. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, fine. I think almost everyone has said about their burnout things, and I think I don't need to say anything else about it all because we medical students all know about this in a very particular way. The way we are just suffering it, it's totally unique, and the way we're just trying to cope with it, it's very different. And uh, in a way it's totally like something we need to work on because we need rest, we need help, we need to be on something that gives us pleasure. And I hope this thing, the whole burnout thing, we need to work on this. Like when we're just going through this, we need to seek help to our elders. Like I know brown parents are so in a way, like they will always tell you that तुम ठीक से नहीं खा रहे हो, तुम ठीक से नहीं पढ़ रहे हो, तुम ठीक से सब कुछ नहीं कर रहे हो, तुम्हारे दोस्त ऐसे कर रहे हैं, तुम्हारे दोस्त वैसे कर रहे हैं, तो दे आर इन अ वेरी गुड वे, बट तुम बस नहीं कर रहे हो, इसीलिए ऐसा हो रहा है, तुम ठीक से खा पी लो बस सब सही हो जाएगा. बट इट इज नॉट लाइक दिस. सो lack of formal mental health resources, this is something we need to work on. So okay, we are done with this slide. Next slide please. Okay, what safe space look like? Okay, so as we say, judgmental thing and all that before, we are so afraid of judgment. Like, what will our friends say? What will our parents say? What will our relatives will say about us? So this is something that we can relate in a very different way. Like what this judgmental thing, we don't speak up. Like we are in a position like मेरे अंदर है, ठीक है, बाहर जाएंगे तो लाइक लोग क्या कहेंगे. सो this is the most difficult position we are in, where just because of the fear of judgment we are not working the way we need to work on ourselves. Like we're just putting ourselves in a position where we're just in a very bad shape, in a very bad mood, but we're just dealing with that all ourselves. So we need to work on this, and I will request each and everyone that you guys are present here, please be non-judgmental. Friends speak, let them say what they want to say, and please help them. Just listen. You don't need to give them any solution, just listen the way they want to express their feelings. That will help them, that will make them feel relaxed or something that they really want from a very long time. So this is something that where we students can work. Like, we students can't do everything, right now we don't have that opportunity, but we have that opportunity to tell our friends, कोई है ही नहीं. हाँ, I know, that's why I'm just uh requesting each and everyone for this, that we need to share our words, we need to vent, we need to show our feelings in a way that, we need to be offered. We don't need to be like, there are so many negative views or negative things will happen if I say this, if I say that. But uh, for this we need to work, really we need to work. Okay, next slide. Okay, about the awareness, we need to do some campaigns. Like, we can say this in a language like how brown parents will understand this. Like, brown parents are, already I have told you like how brown parents are. They're like, in a way, they think everything will work out if you just work hard, but it's not like that. We are already trying our level best. We are trying our level best to do everything in a particular way. But the way we're just doing things is it's totally different. Okay, we have something. Well, Zarguna said, literally, my friends don't listen even if I say anything to them. They just seem to ignore it. And in such situation, how a person can share inner deep feelings? I know it's hurt. So we all need to, make an environment where we are safe. The way she is just complaining, it's not just only her complaining. It's like almost everyone's complaint. Like, if I will, okay, fine, raise your hands if your friends are toxic. I really want to see. Everyone's friends are so good. Oh my gosh. Seriously? Okay, Arvas, Zamil, then 50%. Okay. यार आप लोग इतने अच्छे हो. Seriously. Yeah, she's right. Everyone's friends are in the chat. Just broke up with my friends. Okay. Anyone else? Because it's getting too much. I understand. There are some friends like they don't give you that peace. They're like they just snatch your peace. I wish I could have better circle. Okay. Anyone else? I guess same. Okay. The way Hamna said, I guess everyone's friends are in the chat. I think this is the most accurate answer for this evening because everyone is just saying their friends are like, okay, I will deal with it. Okay, I would love to see you guys' expression so that I could know actually what's going on. But unfortunately, I can't say that. So we're just relying on the chats. So it's okay. Thank you. Adulthood, okay. Okay, Amna. Hassan said, I have two great friends in this meeting too that helped a lot me. So thanks for being there for me. Okay. Can you please name the two person? I really want to thank them. I guess these two reactions are from them. Okay, these days they take depression and anxiety very lightly, and every second person is either joking about it. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. It's not a joke. Like anxiety, depression, it's not a joke. It's something which is really serious, and we need to work on it. Like, if we medical students just have a view like this, then brown parents, what will they say? They're gonna say, "हाँ पी लो यार, ठीक हो जाएंगे." And they say कि पढ़ाई कर लो, सब ठीक हो जाएगा. Fiza and Yusuf Samai. Thank you, Fiza and Yusuf, for being the best ever friend for Hassan. Thank you. I really appreciate this. Okay, can we have the next slide? Okay, community outreach lessons like rural camp. Like, if we talk about Pakistan, rural camp in Sindh, that parents didn't believe in depression. As we all say, our parents don't believe in depression, and we're just talking it about it from the very beginning, because our parents just believe everything will be fine, you just need to focus on yourself. But it's not like that. Depression is a very serious thing, because you are just trying to be happy, but you can't be in a position where you just feel like, yes, I'm okay with myself. So this is really serious, and we need to tell our parents in a way that they also, learn about it, know about it. They don't they need to know that what is actually depression. Like, they need to know that it's a very very, very I don't know what to say. But it's something like we need to work on, because when we're in a depression and we're just dealing with ourselves, just ourselves, it's totally going through like a very cases like suicidal case, or something like a position where we're just having breakdowns and that. And we can prevent that suicides, all because we can just help them like the way we want. Like, sometimes we just say कि आ जाओ यार, बात कर लो, शायद आपको अच्छा लगेगा, शेयर कर लो, अच्छा लगेगा. But okay, yeah. Ali is just so great for this, because brown parents isn't like depression, it's being rude or nafarman all. So yeah, they are just like this. Like, they will say us that we are not grateful enough for the way they are trying to help us, or we are not grateful enough because they are just struggling, they are just trying to do their level best for us, and we're just like always kuch acha nahi lag raha hai, kuch acha nahi ho raha hai, and we need to just work on ourselves. But it's not like this. So we need to work on ourselves and on our parents also, because we need to make sure that they knows. And for this, we need to be in a position where we can tell them in a very appropriate and proper way, because our parents are like, so in a way that every time we just say things is in a very rude way, they think that we don't respect them. So we need to be very polite, very informative, and we need to tell them what is actually depression. And we as medical students, I think it's our responsibility to make sure that not just like the whole society, it's like you can start from your family. You can tell your mom what is actually depression, and what it looks like, and how it feels, and what you need to do when a person is in depression, so that they can also tell their relatives or someone, so that we can have a great, environment or community. Okay, to this, thank you. Yeah, today's audience is brutally honest, I know. And I want actually this, because we are always, having a motivation. It's not like the way motivation works. Like, we need to open ourselves, we need to say things as the way we want to say. Okay, next slide please. Okay, social media. So I would love to say about it in a way like, right now, this generation, like, we are aware of about AI, right? We know what is AI, but our parents, like, एक बिल्ली जो रो रहा है वो आके कहेगी कि यार यार देखो यार, ये तो अल्लाह का कुदरत है. But we know it's just a AI video. But they are like, oh gosh, this is something so unique. But the way this me in social media, depression is meme. It actually Actually, it's so true. And what I was just saying about the parents thing, like our parents are in a way where they actually see AI video in a very, authentic way, and the misinformation they're just having, like the way she said, social media depression is meme, and they're seeing that, and they're thinking that their uh, children are not good enough for the way they're trying to doing their best for them, and the way they're trying to give their best life. Like every time brown parents are like, तुम्हारे लिए हम अपने से भी ज्यादा बेहतर करते हैं. हम इतनी ज्यादा बेहतर करने के बावजूद तुम इतने नाफरमान कैसे हो सकते हो, इतने खराब कैसे हो सकते हो, इतने अनग्रेटफुल कैसे हो सकते हो. So these are the lines that actually brown parents say, and we need to work on this, because we need to tell them that actually depression is something we need to work on in a way that after the like after a suicide case, every parent said she could have tell us, he could have tell us, but you haven't give that person a very space that they can speak themselves in a way that, mom, I'm just suffering from this. They will be like, this is so normal, this is so obvious, because they are judging them by the way they have, born and brought up. Like we are in a very different aura and generation. Like the generation gap between our parents and ourselves, it's so, a major thing that they think everything is so okay, and we know what is not okay. So in that case, we need to work on ourselves and work on our parents also. Okay, Rida said, they say you used to be so bright, now you waste time. Don't study like you used to. And how to explain them? You can't study because your mind is consumed with thoughts and you are still trying to do your best. Exactly. We always try to be our level best. We children are in a position, we are trying our level best to do the best for ourselves, our family, but we are in a certain position where we can't be that. Like we just can't help that. And when we're just telling them we need therapy, we need a space where I can feel my emotions, they will be like, what is therapy and what is this? Like this is just waste of money, this is just waste of time, you just need to work on yourself, that's it. But you are trying your level best, it will not work. Like sometimes the way I say it, religion comes, like they say कि जस्ट अब प्रे करो और सब कुछ हो जाएगा. इट्स नॉट लाइक कि जस्ट अब प्रे कर रहे हो और सब हो रहा है. इट्स समथिंग लाइक अब प्रे कर रहे हो, अब उस पे काम कर रहे हो, आप एक अच्छे से इन्वायरमेंट में आप अपनी सारी बातें पा रहे हो, अब हर एक चीज अपने हिसाब से कर पा रहे हो, तब आप जो पीस ऑफ माइंड में रहोगे और आप जो प्रोडक्टिविटी कर सकोगे, वो कभी आप स्ट्रेस माइंड में नहीं कर पाओगे. सो दिस इज द थिंग दैट वी नीड टू डू इन अ वेरी पर्टिकुलर वे. So we medical students need to do this in a very, very particular way. Like we need to start from our family. Like we need to tell our mom in a very, very soothing way, very calm way. When she's in a very good mood, we need to tell her that this is a concept. This is something that people are going through right now, and she will try to understand what is it. And when she's in a good mood, and you'll be like, putting some information towards her, like this is like this is like this, and after a certain period she will have some, self realization, and she will try to give you that space. So we need to work on ourselves and work on our families too. Okay. uh, okay. Exactly. Mariam said, they say if you are feeling low, it's because of your phone. So true. Like if it's earthquake, it's like a natural disaster is happening. They will say it's all because you're just, always in your phone. That's why it's happening. So it's so true. The phone is thing in somewhat justifiable Excess use of social media messes you up. Yes, exactly. Agree. Still somewhat doesn't mean to blame phone for poor mental health. Exactly. I understand. Brown parents always have a feeling like our phone is the main problem and the main issue we're just dealing, and it's something like we're in a bad position just because of our phone, just because we have a phone, we have social media, we have this kind of friends, and that's why everything is just in this kind of mess. But it's not true. It's like something, there is something like saying, when we're just trying to scroll the whole thing and try to make ourselves in a way like, no, you're just trying to feel better. That's why you're just scrolling and scrolling. But fans will feel like, no, she's just wasting your time. But she doesn't know that how you're just dealing with yourself. You're just burning out. You're just having a very breakdown moment. But fans will like, everything is fine, and you're just showing me tantrums. It's nothing so serious. Okay, Noshin, do you have any solution to eliminate or reduce toxicity in medical schools, which I believe is one of the root cause of the way we feel at the very place which is supposed to be safer and ensuring a nourishing environment? Kindly put light on that too. Keeping in view the suggestion you just gave, you seem quite capable of guiding us in this regard. Thanks. Okay. So now, well, in that case, firstly, I think the teachers we have right now, they need to change their point of view. To be honest, our teachers are in a very way that they feel like the way they suffered, they must make sure that we also suffered the way. But the generation gap between us, the changes between this whole generation period, we need to work on this. We need to first tell our teachers that they need to be in a position where they, you know, I think you guys also have noticed like the young teachers, they are like so cooperative. They just can feel the way we are just having the issues. But the uh teachers who are very much elder than us, they are something like, we have done this, you can do this too. That's nothing like this, like that. So in that way, we need to change that stereotype, that stigma. Then the whole, we brown kids always say that our friends are snakes. Our friends are toxic. Our friends are not good enough the way they need to be. This is all because we have a rat race. We have something like we are always trying to do our best. And in that way, we don't just work on ourselves. We just work on the papers, the certificates. That's all we want in our life. And that's we all just want to get in our life. And for that situation, we're just not living our life. We're just doing things as like, we're in a rush. We're just doing things as we're in just doing this like, हमें ये करना है, हमें बस करना है और कैसे भी करना है. और in this whole process, we're just losing ourselves. We're just having a thing like, no, we're just not in our place. We are just in a place like, हम बस कर रहे हैं, करना है तो कर रहे हैं, पेरेंट्स को खुश करना है, रिलेटिव्स को खुश करना है, रिलेटिव्स कुछ ना बोले, पेरेंट्स को कुछ ना बोले, हमें कुछ ना बोले, उनके मुंह बंद करना है, तो बस कर रहे हैं. तो we need to work on this. We need to work on ourselves. Like, we need to find which is our hobby, which makes us happy, which gives us pleasure. First, try to put everything to yourself. Like, what makes you happy? Just think about it. But after this session, please give yourself 5 minutes. Like, what do you want? What do you really want? What makes you happy? Actually makes you happy. We are just in a very, in a very situation where everything is like, अगर ये कर लेंगे तो अच्छा है, कर रहे हैं, but we don't know if it's actually giving us happiness. So we need to work on this. First, we need to learn what gives us happiness. If we can make sure that it's giving me happiness, that's why I'm just doing this, then it can actually eliminate these things as in a proper way. Okay, agreed. I was just pointing out the impact of social media. But the point is that people these days excessively use social media in order to feel connected and feel the space they are lacking. Exactly. They're doing this the cause when you're just telling your friends that you're not just having a good day, they're just ignoring you or just giving you some like looks or just like uh, you तुम ऐसा हर रोज करते हो ये तुम्हारा रोज का है. That time you're just trying to make new friends. That time you just want to feel like there might be someone who's just like me, who might listen to me, and that's why you're just trying to be a very person when you just trying to connect with others in a very particular way, because at that time you're just trying to search someone like the way you're just feeling, because we're in a generation where we're just showing everything fake. Everything is fake, like we're just smiling, we know like our heart is crying but we are just smiling. So in that way we are just like we are just not having a position where we just can say that I'm just very true to myself. We're just having marks and like we're just doing things as like a puppet. Okay, there is a FOMO. Some old professor are so stubborn and unbelievable. They didn't give me sick leave during my leg fracture where I couldn't climb the top floor my class is, and I had to attend, and God knows what happened to me. Plus, I am a hos- hospital. Okay, yes, exactly. This is what we need to work on. Like professors are sometimes like, we're in the medical fields. How can you just say that a fever is something a huge thing? Like you have headache, this is nothing. You have stomach pain, it's nothing. It's just something uh you're just having, and just ignore it. You need to focus on your study. We are trying, but sometimes we also need break, we also need something for ourselves, and this is something we need to work on. It's not a thing that we can do in a very quick way or in a very short time. We need to do things is in a very you know small steps will help us. Like the you can just tell your friends, your family that I'm dealing with this and I need rest, and try to prioritize yourself first. Sometimes we try to prioritize our family first, our friends first, but I think as a brown kid we need to prioritize ourselves first. Mm, Not a family thing, not a friends thing. Like first we need to focus on ourselves, like what makes us happy. First we need to have that a conversation with us, a very honest conversation with ourselves, that yes, I need this and I must have this. And that's how you can deal with these things, is like you need to be stubborn all about yourselves. Like I need this, and if I'm just getting this will make me happy, and for that happiness I will do things is in a particular way, and the whole hardship and the whole rat race thing will be in a very minimized way. Like that time you will see that everyone is cooperative because you are just working on yourself. You know that what you want, so you are in a very particular way where you know that other how the other person is also feeling. You can feel the pain of others that time, because when you're just prioritizing yourself, you know that what gives you pain, and that time you will think that it will also you know hurting that person, it will also make that person sad. So we need to work on this. Okay, I couldn't find more reality. Can you talk a little about men communicating about mental health and stuff their to their romantic partner, and how men aren't supposed to complain or complain or cry. Okay, about the whole romantic partner thing, I would say uh men in love is the most beautiful thing, I would say. Like I have never seen this kind of thing ever in my life. Like when men are in love, they are just like the best ever thing. Like just best. Like the way they are acting, the way they are doing things is that's just adorable. Like that happiness, that actual pleasure that you can see in their face. Like you can see the happiness in their face. Like yes, they're having a good time. So about this I think men should be more in a position where they can say their things is very quickly, or very like it can be said like अगर आप आपकी पार्टनर के साथ बातें कर रहे हो, अगर आप आपके पार्टनर के साथ ऐसी सिचुएशन में हो कि ठीक है, you just want to share your feelings, be so true to that person. Like on some point, men are like, what will she think about me if she knows about it? But sometimes girls are in a position where they just want the, you know, just the truth. Like sometimes you're just trying to protect her feelings because you're just went with your friends and have a great time, and when she's just asking you that where was you, and you were just telling her that I was in the home and I was just studying, although she knows that you were with your friends, and this is what puts her in a dilemma, like whether this guy is loyal to me or not. Because in this generation, this is a total mess, because every time when you open the social media, you can see that everyone is cheating, everyone is doing bad things or having double timing or triple timing. They're doing such many things, so it creates trust issues, and when it leads a person to a position, you are loyal and you are just thinking, if that person, that your particular partner, if that person cheats you, or if that person give you a mental break, then how will you deal with that? So you try to be a person who's very cautious about the whole situation, and that makes you clingy, or sometimes it makes you creepy actually, because you're trying to be a person who knows everything about the other person life, because you just trying to make sure that that person doesn't cheat you. Because there is something like say लड़के तो ऐसे ही होते हैं बस, men are men, like लड़की मिल जाए तो ऐसा है, but it's not true. When actually they are in a situation कि like one girl one life, this is something
नहीं है
actually men believe. And
हाँ
um is anyone trying to say anything? Okay, I guess not. So, where was
absent
I? Okay, fine. I was just saying that there are some certain points where you need to be a person who is so true to himself and true to that person also. Because if you are just telling that person
uh,
everything, can you please unmute
Arya
your?
multiple session Tamam dur arıyorum.
Okay, okay. So basically, I actually forgot what was just I was trying to say. Okay, about the romantic thing. So all you can do, just true to yourself and true to that person. And if you're feeling like it's not working with you, like it's hurting you, just tell her that it's hurting me, and say that this to her in a very polite way, that she also feels like yes, she need to change this behavior or something like this, because we aren't perfect, human can't be perfect. So you need to tell your person that it's hurting you, rather be like okay fine, she will not change for me or something like that. Don't assume, just tell these things to her or him, so that they can relate or they can change themselves in a very better way. Okay, and okay, cry. About this cry thing, I think you can cry if you feel like you're not okay. Just just pour your heart out and just say whatever you want to say to the mirror actually. If you feel like your friends aren't good enough to just for these things, just say these things to yourself, and then realize what you actually want and what you're just doing right now. And if it actually helps you, then I think just make it a habit. It will actually help you. Okay. Rita said they judge us on basis of their years of knowledge. We are just rookies. What do you expect from us? We don't know everything at this level. We ain't Google. Okay. Okay. About this judgment thing, yes, they actually have knowledge, they actually have experience, but they aren't experiencing our generation's thing, right? They have experienced their generation's thing, but they aren't experiencing our generation's things. We in this era are seeing so many different things, like this whole social media thing, this technology thing. This are totally different. The way they have born and brought up, that's are totally different from us. So they need to know that not everything will go in a very particular way they want, because the whole thing is changing and they need to adapt themselves. So you need to be very polite in this thing. Like, if you really want someone to listen to you, first make sure that you are polite. If you're just screaming, if you're just trying to things in a very loud voice, that person will particularly think that you are just misbehaving or you're just rude. So they will not listen to you. But you, if you are in a very calm position or in a good position, and you're just saying things in a very particular way, in a very soothing way, that person will definitely listen to you. And that self realization and that whole thing, the whole process will somehow will tell that person that he's not doing the things in the right way and he need to change. So it will I know it's a very tough process, and it's a very thing that we need to work in a very slow mode, but it will help. Somehow it will help to change ourselves, because the way I say it, you need to prioritize yourself first. You need to focus on yourself first. Okay, Maida said, OMG, that is so true. I thought this generation gap between teachers and students is only an issue in Pakistan. Sad to know it happens there too. Yes, exactly. It also happens here. And I think it's not just Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, or like just Asia Pacific thing. It's actually all around the world, because generation gap is a huge thing. And it's like a very, main reason for this whole trauma thing. Roshin tried your best to explain. Thanks. Okay, thanks, Junaid. They just don't understand. We are also human beyond medical students and doctors. Our machinery can also exhaust. Exactly. Then don't think about it. They are like, we have dealt with this, you will deal with this, and everything will be fine. No, it won't be fine. Like, you haven't done this, like not in this way. The way we're just dealing things is it's totally different, because this trauma thing, this whole generation thing, like the toxicity, the trust issue thing, this is something we're just working on. Like, we are trying to be a person where trust issues aren't be a thing. Like, trust issues, like you are a very loyal person. Suppose you are a very loyal person, you will never cheat or something like that. Your partner is also a loyal person. But sometimes there are peer pressures or exams pressure or something, like prof is going on, and you just don't have that time to just talk to that other person. And that person is feeling like, oh, she might be cheating or he might be cheating. Okay, so this isn't the thing that they are doing, but you're just feeling that way because your friends are so toxic that they are telling you वो पक्का तुझ पे चीट कर रही है, वरना उसे क्या 5 मिनट का टाइम नहीं मिलता है इस पूरे दिन में कि तुझे एक टेक्स्ट कर दे? क्या उसे इतनी सी भी फुर्सत नहीं है कि तुझे एक टेक्स्ट लिख ले? यार सच्ची बताओ, जब मेरी प्रॉफ चलती है तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मैं अपनी, मतलब, पूरे दिन में ऐसे ही कोई टाइम नहीं होती है जब मैं पढ़ नहीं रही होती हूँ। बस फोकस उसी पे होती है क्योंकि पास करना है, क्योंकि पता नहीं कि टीचर क्या पूछने वाले, एक्सटर्नल क्या पूछने वाले और कैसा जाने वाला है, क्योंकि ये तो पूरी लक के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है। आप रिटर्न की तो मतलब फिर भी चलता है कि ठीक है चलो रिटर्न में कि क्या हो सकता है आप लिख लोगे, बट वाइवा इट्स समथिंग दैट्स इज एक्चुअली अ ट्रॉमा। And at that time, if someone is complaining you that you are not giving me time, आपको गुस्सा आएगा कि यार ये बंदा मेरे बारे में सोचता भी नहीं है, ये सब पता भी है कि मैं कैसे दिन गुजर रही हूँ या फिर मेरी दिन कैसे जा रहा है, बट that person is also feeling the way like उसे लग रहा है कि आप उसकी ध्यान नहीं रख रहे हो और आपको लग रहा है कि वो मुझे समझ नहीं रही है, बट इट्स जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ द डिफरेंस। क्योंकि वो एक अलग लाइफ लीड कर रही है, उसकी फैमिली एक अलग जोन में है, वो एक अलग दुनिया देख रही है उस वक्त और आप एक अलग दुनिया देख रहे हो उस वक्त। अगर आप एक साथ होते तो शायद चीजें अलग होती, बट आप दूसरे जगह पे हो, अलग अलग जगह पे हो, अलग अलग सिचुएशन में हो, दैट्स वाई वो बहुत ज्यादा ऐसी सिचुएशन क्रिएट करी है जिस सिचुएशन पे आप कंट्रोल नहीं कर पा रहे हो। आपको गुस्सा आ रही है कि यार वो मुझे समझते नहीं है, उसे पता भी है मेरी दिन कैसे जा रही है, मैं खाने के टाइम नहीं पा रही हूँ और उस वो पड़ी हुई कि मैं उसे टाइम नहीं दे रही हूँ। आपको ऐसा गुस्सा आ रहा है, बट उसे ऐसा लग रहा है कि यह बंदा मेरे बारे में सीरियस ही नहीं है। सो this is something that we are dealing in this generation, and we need to work on this. Like, we need to be so polite to that person that आप पूरे दिन में 5 मिनट निकाल के बस उसे एक दफा बोल दो कि यार मेरी ऐसी दिन जा रही है और मेरे पास सच्ची में ऐसी टाइम नहीं है। और जब वो ये समझने लग जाएगी तब वो आपको कंप्लेन नहीं करेगी कि यार क्यों नहीं दे रहे हो, क्योंकि उसे पता है कि ही इज लॉयल एंड ही इज ट्राइंग हिज बेस्ट टू मेक श्योर दैट एवरीथिंग इज परफेक्ट। सो ये जो चीज है ना, वो आप लोगों को ऐसा करना है कि हर एक चीज हर एक जगह पे हो। मतलब आप अपनी पढ़ाई की गुस्सा उस पर मत उतारो कि आपको कुछ नहीं आ रहा है, आपको कुछ याद नहीं आ रहा है, आप उस पर गुस्सा निकाल रहे हो कि यार आप कॉल मत करो, आप कुछ मत बोलो, आप क्यों ऐसा करते हो, आप हर वक्त ऐसा करते हो। सो वी नीड टू चेंज दिस थिंग। ओके, या श्योर। Viva and Auspice, I must say they mess your mental health up to another level. I agree. Can we have the next slide, please? I think. Any questions, anyone? I think I already took all the questions, so I'm not just extending it more, because I have took a very long time, and someone is still waiting there to give you guys a very really good speech, because she is a very good person, and she will tell you guys more and more about other topics. And thank you for everyone. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you for this type of comments, because I really enjoyed this session. I don't know about you guys, but I really enjoyed, because you guys were so true to yourselves and you guys said so many things is the way you guys need to say. And I just love the whole session. Thank you. I just love to be with you. Thank you so much. And I'm just ending my speech here. And thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Nosheen, for your wonderful time and presence. We were truly honored to welcome Ms. Krishna, NMO President of MSA Malta, and Sport Vision Assistant for Europe, for delivering an insightful session as part of Bloom Within and Mastermind. Your contribution made the initiative even more impactful. Up to you, ma'am. Thank you.
So hi everyone, so thank you very much for the introduction. I will just share my screen. So are you able to see it? Maybe someone just gives me a thumbs up or write in the chat, please. Yes, perfect. Thank you. So we had two very interesting sessions. First talking about medical conditions, and then we've discussed burnout in medical students and healthcare students. And now we're actually going to be talking a little bit about the strategies that we can do to mitigate or to help at least ease our feelings with regards to burnout. If you don't mind, I will just be speaking in English because I do not understand Urdu. But just in case, if anyone doesn't understand, maybe we can do some translations in the chat. So, first off, so as we mentioned, I will be giving a session titled Healing, Self-Care, and the Role of Peer Support. So what we're going to be covering is, first off, why self-care matters in general. Then we'll move on to the power of peer support, and then we'll focus on building a culture of care in our community. So I want this to be a little bit more of an interactive part, kind of like an icebreaker or an energizer now, because we've been a while in the webinar. So I would like to ask you to raise your hand if you've ever felt overwhelmed by academic or work pressure. Or maybe, for example, overwhelmed by all of the medical school duties and assignments. Let's see, are there more people or is it just us four and myself? So maybe just these four. Okay, a few more. I'm seeing, I think, some in the chat. Yeah, well, overwhelmed by everything. Yes, I agree. So next one is raise your hand if you've stayed up late even though you were exhausted. Maybe again during these exam seasons, I think we're all currently in it. Yes, I'm seeing Ryan with the two hands up, I agree. Again, maybe these very long assignments. So next one is raise your hand if you've ever helped a friend through a tough time. So this is delving a little bit more now into the community care. So again, maybe if you're seeing any of your friends in the healthcare or medical school sector and you realize they might need a little bit more encouragement or motivation or even just help from yourself. So next one is raise your hand if you've sometimes found it hard or you sometimes find it hard to say no even when you're tired. So for example, maybe someone asks you, I don't know, to be part of their group project or to take part as a speaker or as part of, I don't know, anything realistically, and you just find it hard to say no. I think we're all ambitious as students sometimes, so we do not really see from ourselves how. Hold on, sorry. Okay. We do not see or maybe gauge at that certain point in time if we actually have time to carry it out, right? Exactly. And someone said, Mariam, that you cannot say no sometimes. That's true. And raise your hand if you felt better after talking to someone who just listened. So sometimes you might not need someone to give you, let's say, the appropriate ways to go through or to give you solutions to a particular problem, but even just listening and having that person by your side really helps. I'm just going to check the chat again. So someone is saying that they don't have someone to listen to, but well, fortunately for us in IFMSA, we have a very large community of medical students, and I think we're always open to being supportive to other people who, even if they are not from our same country, we have this beautiful community where we can just speak to each other if there's any need. So, essentially, the introduction why self care matters is that, first off, as you're seeing through these prompts, is that it's a universal experience. So, many medical students and healthcare students, they do end up. They're so ambitious sometimes that they would like to apply for many activities all at once, and they end up leading to more stress, more burnout, more anxiety that you're not going to end up finishing these tasks, these very tight deadlines. And yes, that ends up causing us to feel more overwhelmed. We sometimes find it very hard to say no, so as we mentioned before, and this ends up leading to us feeling completely exhausted and burnout. So burnout, stress, and loneliness as well is real. So sometimes we feel so much like in our shell and we feel that we're not able to speak to other people that we end up just feeling lonely and we cannot express what we're currently feeling to. And all of these feelings realistically are valid, right? Everyone is experiencing them. We're not alone in this. And if we manage to find a community where we are able to voice our mind about what we're dealing through, then we would be able to solve them appropriately. And healing is also not a straight line, right? So sometimes you might have good days, sometimes you might have bad days. In our calendar cycle, sometimes you might have periods where you're a bit more relaxed, and then you have the exams and the deadlines coming, so you're hit with a wave of stress. So yes, I mean, unfortunately, it's not a straight line. And a very important point that I want to mention is that taking care of yourself is not selfish. So sometimes you have to definitely put yourself first, even if, for example, maybe establishing those boundaries. So as we were saying, if it's very hard for you to say no at a certain point in time, you do need to establish that boundary and tell the person who's asking you to carry out this task, maybe, no, I'm feeling overwhelmed at the moment, I have too much on my plate. So it is essentially a sense of you trying to advocate really for yourself and be like, okay, I need to take a step back and I need to self care. And next up is essentially we're going to be talking about self care. So, can anyone explain, either raise your hand or write in the comments, what is self care for you? So, either a definition or you can give me some examples. So, for example, what do you do on a very long day when you're feeling overwhelmed? How do you end up tackling this? So, yes, Ryan?
So, one of the shapes or ways to, self-care myself is to sit, like isolate myself for a few minutes, for an hour, sit down, have my favorite cup of tea, like I'm doing right now, and like watching something that relaxes me, something that I'm having always fun and feel joy when I do. Just, wind down and isolate from all of the noise of the world.
Mm-hmm. No, that's definitely relatable. In fact, even two people in the comments said me time and to have a quiet mind. I also do this, so sometimes I like to, the term is bed rot. So I just stay in my bed, stay watching series, movies, do not answer any texts, and then like after maybe a couple of
Yes,
hours or sometimes
we
even
all
a
do
day.
it in our bedroom.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, next day I can focus on work. Today I will just take some time for myself. Yes, or someone said I prefer sleeping. I also agree. I also like to take some naps, especially if I get a big headache or feeling very tired. So I feel like it's a perfect solution sometimes. So, self care, according to the American Psychological Association, is that it supports emotional regulation, resilience, and cognitive performance. So, if we're passing through a rough patch or a rough time, as we've mentioned, because of these self care methods, which we'll be talking about in the future, it will help to essentially improve our cognitive performance. So, we will be able to focus more on our tasks in the future and emotional regulation as well. So, if you're feeling overwhelmed, maybe through these self care strategies, in the future, you'd end up feeling less anxious, less stressed, so on and so forth. So, types of self care in general now is so physical, we've already mentioned one of them. So, for example, sleeping or napping. This can also be linked with exercise, so stretching, walking, let's say 20 to 30 minutes of exercise, preferably per day. But it's also very hard to schedule when we have exams. Then there is healthy food, yoga, and resting as well. Then, from the emotional side, there's more of currently managing stress and how you can manage it, right? Will be with the other types of self care as well. Forgiveness, compassion, and kindness to yourself. So, as we mentioned, self care is not being selfish, but you have to put yourself first. Social, so establishing those boundaries. So, as I mentioned, at a certain point, is if you are a very high people pleaser and you like to say yes to everything, sometimes you have to realize in yourself that even though you might have the best time management skills in the world, you have to sometimes say no and be like, okay, let me reflect a little bit. Do I actually have time to do this, or am I just saying yes to say yes? So, again, it's just important to establish these boundaries. A support system. I'm seeing someone said overwhelmed by the slide. Yes, to be honest, when I was trying to find a picture, it was the prettiest that matched with the aesthetics of the PowerPoint. So I said I will keep it. But yes, for a support system, so if, for example, you do not find support from your friends or for your family, as we mentioned before, IFMSA and SCOF in general is a very large community of people who are always there to help. So, even with these webinars, you can end up finding a new friend who can be your new support system in the future. Positive social media as well. So, it really depends on what you are saying on your social media and it can affect your mental health. So, these For You pages and these trends sometimes can really impact your mental state. So, it's important to kind of stay on the right social pages. Communication, friend time, and asking for help. Yes, so this will be delving a little bit more into it in the future. Good food, I'm seeing someone mentioned. Yes, so maybe having your favorite food on a rough day can definitely help. So then delving into the spiritual side. So someone mentioned time alone. So yes, this for me, it definitely works. I'll just need to switch off my phone, my laptop, just stay in my bed and chill a little bit. Medication sometimes. So yes, you might need to seek professional help, and then the psychiatrist will be able to prescribe you medications depending on the situation. Connecting as well with nature, this can be linked to the physical aspect. So going outside, breathing some fresh air, going for a walk, going for a jog, walking even with your friends can help. Journaling, having a sacred space, and also maybe music. So listening to your favorite music or even your favorite podcast sometimes. From a personal aspect, there's also hobbies, creativity, finding your identity, goals, and honoring your true self. So, for example, for hobbies, maybe with medical school or in general, we're sometimes so overwhelmed with all of the assignments, especially when we go in. And when it's close to exams, we just constantly keep on thinking about exams, right? But it's important to always keep up your hobbies because it's a way realistically for you to de stress, to get out of your environment, to get out of your university, to meet new people, speak to new people. And yes, I mean, I definitely recommend to keep it up. Maybe during exams it's a little bit hard, but throughout the year it's definitely very important. Someone said reading self help books, so yes, that's also a very good point. Next is space. So, safety, healthy living environment, securing and stability. So, obviously, these also end up contributing to your mental state. There's a financial aspect. So, for some people, again, money is a very big stressful situation. So sometimes you can budget and you can delve into money management, but it's not always the case for everyone. And then lastly, there is work, right? So it's important to, as you said again, to establish these boundaries, to make sure that you have, let's say, an appropriate time management, maybe to, let's say, with time management to allocate time for you to study and to do your assignments, but it also needs to be done in a healthy way. That at the end of the day, maybe you end with reading your favorite book, listening to your best podcast, seeing some series. So just another added way to de-stress. Now, out of all of these types of self care, for me, the most important ones, I believe, when it comes to this topic, are these four. So, first off is mindfulness and grounding. So, has anyone heard of grounding techniques? Have you ever heard of the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique? Maybe someone can raise their hand or write in the comments. I will wait a while. Or does anyone maybe do any of these techniques? Okay, someone said so 3 is the most important. Yes, definitely. So setting boundaries. So for grounding, essentially the technique it's called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So in a period where you are very stressed, feeling very anxious, what you can do is first off, you name 5 things you see. 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. And this is sometimes what is done as well during therapy sessions, where the psychologist really ends up encouraging grounding, and it definitely does end up helping to soothe a little bit, let's say, your nervousness during that period of time. Next off, there is journaling and self-reflection. So this is, I mean, realistically, listing all of your thoughts in order, especially maybe if they're all jumbled up, if you're stressed, you have a lot of assignments to do and you're not really sure where to start. So what I like to do is, for example, a to-do list with all of the deadlines side by side to make sure I don't miss anything. But at least having them all jotted down in one place maybe ends up relieving the sense of anxiety that you don't really know where to start working from. So there's also setting boundaries, right? So this we've mentioned, very important. So sometimes you have to say no when it comes to opportunities. You have to self-reflect. And like I said, see if you have time to actually achieve this. And sometimes it can be very hard for us overly ambitious students. And lastly is digital detox routines. So at the bottom over here, I put a little photo of a little forest. I don't know if any of you use it, but if you do, please write in the comments. This app is called Forest, and essentially it is a time management app where there's a feature where it locks your phone. And for example, you can set a timer and build a tree for example, 180 minutes. And at that time, you're going to specifically either study, there are different toggles as well. So you can study, maybe you can do one of your hobbies, you can rest a little bit. And I think it's the perfect tool because, especially when you're studying, you end up really focusing on one particular topic, right? So instead of finishing something in 2 hours and a half because you're constantly like on your phone and checking back messages, maybe you end up like finishing completely in an hour or an hour and a half. So, all right. So now I just want to ask you guys in the chat. So have any of you used these techniques before? Any of the ones maybe which I've mentioned? If you want to raise your hand or write it in the chat, you definitely can. Let's see a little bit. Sarita said yes. The tree one, nice journaling. So Ryan, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so I almost like use all of them. I tried them all from journaling to detox of social media to those apps that block time. I used all the apps. Like I did my own experiment on them, and the best one is Yulbenta, which is a Korean one. I highly recommend. It's YBT. Yeah, so but this thing for me that went for me was journaling when I committed to it, which something I have issues with procrastination, stuff like that. And journaling can get overwhelmed if I think too much about it and have to do it. But when I just do it, it's the best thing, like to just brain dump everything and reflect with like first it's gonna be with emotion, but then it's gonna hit with more logical senses, and it's the best feeling.
Mm-hmm. So it's actually taking some time, again, realistically, right, to yourself, going through all of those muddled thoughts, writing them down one by one. And it's
Yeah.
true, I think it is the perfect way, let's say, to de-stress at the end of the day, is just to write down everything, maybe what happened, what is causing you stress, why is it causing you stress, right? To deconstruct a little bit your thoughts.
Yeah, and may I add that the journaling works for me the best because I tend to run away from my emotions. Okay. So it's a way for me to
Okay.
face them immediately, not just keep it in.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I mean, that's true. I mean, in fact, if let's say sometimes you are not comfortable to speak about a particular topic to a friend, maybe even just the journaling aspect, right, can help you out a little bit. So,
Yeah, totally right.
so next is we'll be going into a little bit what is peer support. So, peer support is essentially when individuals with shared living experiences offer each other encouragement, practical help, and emotional support. So, this is very relevant to us during our medical school or our universities. And essentially, it is just having that person at your side, sometimes not, as we said, for them to give us solutions, but just to listen to our thoughts, our worries, and just to have someone which we can essentially vent to. So, peer support, it is about the presence. So, having that person by our side and not the pressure. So, the pressure to solve the problem of what you currently have. So just some do's and don'ts for peer support. So first off, a do is to always, I think it's the most important, to listen actively. So to make eye contact, to nod, to show that you are engaged, right? Many of us are very addicted to our phones, especially sometimes when we go out for dinner with our friends or out and about. You see some people constantly texting, but we have to be active in our presence. So we have to do that effort and actually put our phones down and engage in the conversation, especially when someone is venting to you. And you can also say things, for example, like I hear you or that makes sense. So, again, some words of encouragement. Do definitely validate their feelings. So, it's important to tell them, like, it's okay to feel this way, or that sounds really difficult, which essentially shows your acceptance and showing empathy to that person. You can also ask open questions, so you can prompt them a little bit more. For example, do you want to talk about it instead of, let's say, leading or assuming any particular things? Do respect boundaries. So sometimes the person just might not want to talk about it. If you see them looking a little bit sad or frustrated, maybe they just want to delve with the topic on their own. Sometimes they don't want to speak to people about the situation, right? Do follow up. So, for example, if you know that a person is passing through a very stressful period in that point in time, maybe after a couple of days or a week, you can simply message them, right? And tell them, hey, I've been thinking about you. How are you doing? Did your situation resolve? So it kind of shows them that you were thinking about them. And lastly is do encourage professional help when needed. So this is very, very important. So maybe you can encourage them and tell them, would you ever consider talking to someone trained, such as a healthcare professional, psychiatrist, psychologist? So sometimes from a medical student's perspective, and as a friend's perspective, there's only so much that we can do. And sometimes you need to push your friend to the professional route. And then the don'ts. So realistically, so do not interrupt or talk over them. So even if you have good intentions, it's important to them to finish, let's say, their whole little speech or venting period, right? Also, oops, wait. Okay. Don't minimize their experience. So avoid telling them things like it could be worse or comparing their situation to your situation as well. So let them have their moment and let them vent to you. Don't jump to fixing again. So the main thing about this is not to put pressure on the person, but to actually end up just being that present with them. Don't gossip about what they shared. Okay, so this is very obvious. Don't assume what they need. So again, try avoiding turning the situation into, let's say, something which you experience and what helps in your case, because again, every single person is different. So maybe what they need is something completely different to what you need. And again, don't make it about you. So you can ask what would be, let's say, helpful to you right now, but don't do it specifically about you. Now, some examples. So I found two prompts. So the first one is when someone opens up about stress. So realistically, a bad peer support would tell them like, oh, I think you're so stressed, but I have 3 deadlines and I haven't slept in 2 days. So realistically, this is not the perfect approach, but then the good approach would be, so that sounds like a lot to carry. Do you want to talk a little bit more about it, or do you want to chill together? Do you want to relax and just talk it through? And the next one is, for example, when someone says, I'm feeling really down lately. So something bad to say would be you're just overthinking it, or you're being completely over dramatic. When realistically, again, that is not the right approach, but preferably you tell them, I'm really sorry that you're feeling this way, and I'm here for you. Do you want to talk about it? So it's all about giving them the space just to vent to you, and again, not to pressure them to do anything. Now, the very last section is collective care. So, what is it? So, whilst self care is essential, healing doesn't happen in isolation, right? So, it might not just be yourself. Collective care means that we share the responsibility for each other's well being, not as a burden, but as a strength. So, this is essentially having a community of friends, of family, of people who you can talk to, who can all end up helping each other. So, it is this shared responsibility. And why does it matter? So, essentially, many people end up struggling silently. So, this is something which we've talked about. So, many healthcare students go through stress, burnout, and loneliness, which is often hid behind these good grades or these busy schedules. So, even though someone maybe is overly active and has a million activities all happening at the same time, it doesn't mean that they're not feeling lonely on the inside, right? And even though we've mentioned the different types of self care strategies or techniques that one person can do, sometimes this is often inaccessible when someone is feeling overwhelmed, unsupported, or isolated. So this person who's stressed out might not even know which, let's say, technique or route they should go under, but having this collective care, so having this community of people behind them, maybe can help them realize, like, listen, why don't you try going to some new hobbies? Have you tried reading? Have you tried going on a walk? So the, let's say, main message is that the collective care, it fills these gaps, right? So it reminds people that they are not alone. And some examples, which I think are the three most important ones, are that first off, there are peer-led initiatives, for example, some wellness clubs, buddy systems. For example, we implement this in our school, so we do have a buddy system. I'm interested to note if in your medical schools or healthcare schools you have a buddy system set in place. Maybe yes, or maybe no. I will just wait for some answers in the chat. So, okay, so no buddy system. Do you have maybe any mental health initiatives which are happening in your school? Let's say these wellness initiatives. Ryan said, let's say silent. Okay, so maybe not. The second example is micro actions, right? So this is something which we've mentioned beforehand. So it's just as simple like texting the person and telling them, I'm thinking of you. And lastly, it's breaking isolation. So a type of self-care we mentioned is journaling. And sometimes you might not need to journal on your own, but there would be available journal clubs, which might happen in some particular communities. So the very last thing is that essentially small consistent actions end up making a big impact. So the small action would be, for example, saying, how are you really? And actually meaning it. And the message is that it opens a space for honesty and for communication with the person. Secondly, is sometimes maybe bringing someone a snack or a coffee if they're studying for a very long time. Sometimes maybe you can deliver these snacks to their doorstep, and it shows essentially that you're being very thoughtful and supportive of that person. Especially maybe during exam season where they're stressed, and people tend to lock into their rooms and their houses, and they don't end up seeing their friends. The next, small action, is sharing notes or helping explain a topic. So unfortunately, in our courses, sometimes as students, we are very, very competitive. But to try and mitigate this, I think if you're sharing notes with your friend about a very hard topic, which people do not understand, it actually is another example of support that you can provide to this person. Sending a thinking of you message. So this is very similar to what we've mentioned beforehand. So it's just reminding someone that they're valued. And lastly, to respect people's needs to rest. So this is really instilling the idea of boundaries, that sometimes the person, again, just might not want to explain the situation to you and just would like to be left, let's say, kind of at peace. And essentially, this is a cute little cycle that I found. So what happens when care is shared? So first off, trust grows in the community. So people end up feeling safer to ask for help, to ask you for questions, to ask you for those notes, especially for those very hard topics. Then it goes that stigma ends up shrinking, right? So mental health will become a very important part of our everyday conversation. You start off these conversations with, how are you feeling today? Okay, I'm feeling stressed, I'm feeling anxious, burnt out. And as well, it ends up reducing the stigma, as we said. Thirdly, is it does reduce burnout, because it feels like, again, you are not alone in this aspect. You have your community then to help you, who is by your side. And lastly, the communities thrive. So again, you have your support system. So in conclusion, self-care and peer care, so as we're saying, as the community collaboration leads to then stronger and healthier communities. And the very, very last thing I want for you to ask yourself now, you don't need to write it in the chat, is, so what's one self-care step that you will try this week? So I just want you to reflect on this and think of maybe all the different types of techniques that we did for self-care. What is one of those techniques that you will try and achieve or try to carry out this week? And that is basically it from my end. Do you have any questions, maybe? I think it was a very simple topic to go through, but if anyone has any questions, where do I find people? Sorry?
What are these?
No. So thank you. So I think that is it from my end. If you have no questions.
Ma'am, the session was wonderful, especially the slides were really creative. And I would just want to thank you once again for a beautiful session, and the way you explained every slide was like really profound, simple yet effective. And I don't have
Thank
much
you.
words to express my feelings, but it was just simply perfect. And the
Thank
slides
you
were
so much,
funny, and the
Hassan.
way you expressed them, it was just perfect. And I request everyone that we should take a picture, as it was a wonderful session. So I request that everyone should open up their video cameras and we should take a picture. How does it sound?
Yes.
Okay, so let's just give everyone 2 minutes to open up their videos so that we can take a picture. Okay, so I guess everybody is comfortable and everybody is doing it. I would once again thank every other speaker too, because it was just a beautiful session and everyone delivered their best, starting from Kirwa, then Noshin, and then Mehmet, and it was really just simply perfect. So I hope the audience enjoyed the session as much as I did. And as I said in the beginning of the session, that we'll have uh, a color as a review at the end too. So as I said in the beginning about colors, so do you still have the same color, or is your mental state a bit improved? Did you learn a thing or two, or did the session was beneficial for you? I love to see the chat box now, and I hope the instructor would really proud seeing that how much the students have learned from it. So beneficial. Okay, so I'm seeing the chat box, and I'm also quite happy and proud of the audience and instructors that everybody really learned a lot. Okay, ma'am Krista, someone is requesting for slides. Can you share them? As I also wanted to have your slides. They were just so perfect.
I
Yes,
will
we need them.
I will send the link in the chat. Hold on, just a moment.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. So that's the presentation. And it should be
Yes.
open access to everyone.
Okay, thanks a lot, ma'am, for your
It's
Kind of.
open.
Okay.
Perfect.
And so rest, I hope that everybody has changed their color of their mental state to white now, and especially pearl white, with shining and sparkles everywhere, because the session was so insightful and we all learned a thing or two. But there are some things that we just need to remember, that we are not alone in this journey, and it is a journey or a marathon. Every day we improve. We might have a hard day, but it is not an excuse to just stop. We just need to keep going on and remember that we are not alone in this journey, and we have to take our peers with it. As ma'am said in her slide, which was the peer concept, that some random text to our friends that I was just thinking about you and how are you doing, and that will be so perfect. And there is this initiative that we were working on, and I am proud to announce that here, by the name of Echo to Heart here at AFMDC LC, where we'll be going all out. And when I'm saying that we are going all out, it means that we are putting our heart and soul in this project, where we'll discuss the problems of students uh, as that nobody talks about, their struggles that are considered a taboo in our society. As Ma'am Machine said, that in our South Asian households, the toxic parenting or toxic friends, or overall the toxic culture, as there was a professor example in the chat box, and it is so relatable, as everyone can relate with that example at time to time. There would be a professor or a teacher in their life that would have treated them like shit. And here at this program, that initiative we are starting by the name of Echo to Hearts at AFMDC LC, we'll be working on all of these problems, and will help our medico peers in this journey, because it is an initiative made by medicos for medicos. Because recently our passing percentage changed, our criteria of attendance changed, and it is a bit too overwhelming for our students. So now we'll be working with our full potential in this project. And again, as I said, if I'm saying that we are going all out, then we are going all out. We'll get guidance from the best psychiatrists in our town, the best support that we can get, as we have some good references and I have some good experience in this field too. So let's talk about that, how this idea came into my mind, and how I actually learned about this. This is a story that took place in my MD cat time. I had my friend, and he was a bit too depressed, and he talked about me about that, how his father is not understanding his situation, just like a typical South Asian father. And then I counseled him. I listened to his story quite with some compassion and empathy. And within 5 minutes, my friend was like a totally different person. There was a beautiful smile on his face, and he was just thanking me. And at that time, I experienced real happiness, that happiness that I have never experienced with any material thing. So that was like a key moment in my life, where it hit that maybe I will do something like this in future. So this is a plan here, and we'll be working on it. And I hope so that you all will join us in this project, and as it is a journey in which we all are here to learn and improve. So that was a bit sneak peek of our upcoming project, which again I am proud to announce, by the name of Echo to Hearts. So once again, I would love to thank our speakers for their beautiful presentation, as it is a seed which they have sowed, and with the help of God, we will make it a tree really soon, a beneficial tree which will bear fruit really soon. So once again, thanks a lot to the speakers, and best of luck to our peers for their journey. Remember that you are all not alone in this journey, and will always be there to support you. So if somebody has any question, let us know in the chat box if they want to ask any speaker or our host, anyone.
All, thank you so much, all the lovely speakers, for enlightening us on today's topic. Thank you guys once again for the lovely slides as well as for kind words. Okay,
Yeah, I just want to say thank you all for this initiative, and I hope to see more and more initiative that about mental health and about the awareness and everything related to it. Thank you all for your efforts.
thank you. If nobody is having question, we can end this session today here. Now you guys can open up your camera and say goodbye.